As humans, there's this one thing we always remember doing before we step out of the house. That is charging our phones. We are okay to be late for that trip or for work, but we always prioritize putting that charger in because we know if our phone is not fully charged, we are going to be in trouble. Think about this. Your phone isn't just a device anymore. It is your maps, it is your wallet, it is your connection to the rest of the world. Imagine that your phone is at 1% charge. Think of the anxiety that you feel, how restless, how chaotic. You look for a socket somewhere just to put in the charger and get that charge on, right? But what about you, the human using this device? How often do you check what battery percentage you are running at? Most of us humans step out of the house half drained, half charged, half burnt out, but we never pay attention to that. Then we wonder, why did small things exhaust us so much today? Why did conversations drain us this much today? Why did we snap at people at the drop of a hat? We feel safe and comfortable that our phones are fully charged. But what about the inside? We are running at 5% battery on the inside. Just like your phone, you too are being used 24 hours a day. Your attention too gets distracted by a colleague's tone, by a friend's silence, by worries that you did not process. Every moment of your day demands battery, charge. And if you do not charge yourself completely, you start stealing charge from others. How? By snapping at somebody, by reacting too fast, by saying something that you didn't mean to say. So the question is, how do you charge yourself? Not with caffeine and small talk. There are umpteen number of practices available today in order to do this. Meditation, yoga, journaling, brain dumping, sitting in silence are just some of the practices that really help in this regard. Now, these are not woo woo. A lot of people think that these are just extremely overused terms in today's world. I have used some of them and I can tell you about the benefits of them. Earlier, I also used to be a critic. Meditation isn't about thoughtlessness. A lot of people on the internet are going to tell you you have to go absolutely zero thought in your mind in order to meditate the right way. That just doesn't happen because your mind chatters. What you can do instead is sit in silence with your thoughts and see them passing you by like clouds in a sky. That's the best mode of observation that I have at least practiced. You don't have to engage with those thoughts as you see them. You just see thoughts from the previous day and today that are just passing by in the sky, and you just look at them, observe them, and say bye to them. That's about it. It gives you a good kickstart for the rest of the day because you now have taken inventory of what's going on in your mind, at least on the surface level. So they are out of your radar now. They are not going to bother you during the day because you have already collected them as a list in your mind. Now that you know and are informed about these thoughts, you can segregate them, tell five of them to not come during the day, and say, I'm going to look into you after the end of this day. Now, what happens is you have a clean slate. You can start off your day easier. There's not much on your mind. Similarly, journaling helps because you are brain dumping, right? Whatever worries, anxieties that come to your mind, you start scribbling them on a piece of paper. And once you can visibly see them on that piece of paper, it doesn't hold the power over you that it did right before you wrote them down. Now you can see them right out there that these are thoughts in my head and I can come up with solutions for them. I can act on them now. When they are clouding your head, it's much more heavier. But once they're out there and you see them and it's public knowledge, they don't hold that power over you anymore. And it's such a reality. One thing that I generally do is I write out all of my anxieties on a piece of paper and later on I revisit them. And I go to each of those points and I find out 10 to 12 solutions for each of them. And once I see that I can figure out so many levels of solutions for each of those problems, I feel a lot more stronger. I feel like, okay, I am the master. My mind is just a slave. I'm taking inventory of the situation and I'm going to come up with solution. So who is this mind to bother me during the day and just distract me from things that I got to do? You can try this out and it really helps. And when I talk about sitting in stillness, here is what I do. I take a cup of black coffee and I go sit in the balcony at the beginning of my day. It gives my body time to organically wake up. It doesn't jolt me into the day. It gives me the time to wake up and kind of soothe myself into the day. And while I'm sitting there, I look at nature, I look at the sky, think of how gray it is today. Is it going to rain today? Birds going by, the greenery that I can see there, few of the sounds of the early morning risers. Amazing, right? And this is only when I wake up in the mornings, which is very rare. But this really helps. This just gives me the time to be by myself and gives me the time to understand what my day is going to be like, what I want my day to be like, and then slowly, gradually, steadily go into the day, go to work, prepare breakfast, have another cup of chai or coffee or whatever, right? So that's what you have to give yourself a time period during the beginning of the day. Maybe you're not like me. Maybe you like waking up to some nice music and you like moving around to that music, and that is your thing. That satisfies your soul. Go for that. But do something during the beginning of the day to bring you to the day, right? It should be a ritual which basically initiates the day. One more thing that you should keep in mind is at the beginning of the day, when we just wake up, our mind is like a sponge. It absorbs whatever you give it at that point. You give it some violent movie to watch, it's going to turn violent. You give it aggression, it's going to go aggressive. You give it some spiritual learnings during that time, some motivational quotes, some nice video to watch, which is good for your soul, right? That's the energy that it's going to carry forward during the day. So be very careful what you feed yourself in the morning. And I'm not talking about food. I'm talking about your mind and the kind of food you feed your mind during the day, right? So at the beginning of the day is when it's like a still lake. No stone has been thrown in, right? So there's no ripples that you see. It's so clean and it's so steady and still right now that you can see till the bottom of the pond or the lake, right? And you can see the thoughts in your head. It's very visible, surface level, and also at the depths. And during this time, the steadier and calmer and slower and softer you are, the better for your body and your mind. Here are a few things that start happening once you recharge yourself, once your batteries are at full. You start listening better. You start acting better. You stop reacting to situations too fast. You give it time. You slow things down. You hurt less number of people. You are much more cognizant of the way you speak or you act. You take better care of the people around you. You're softer towards them. And most importantly, you don't take things personally. When you're charged, you're basically pouring from a fuller cup. You are not running on emptiness. And that's when the chaos happens, when you give more than you have. Something very important that will shift in your life is when you come back home from work, you went to work at 100%, and now maybe you are at a 50, which is any day better than at a 0%, right? So when you come back and your husband or your wife or your children approach you at the end of the day. They want to talk to you. They want to share their day with you. They want to discuss about things that went right or wrong during their day. You do not react, you respond. You do not throw a tantrum. You do not get irritable, aggressive, or anything of that sort. If you are running at a lower battery percentage, the tendency is to shut them off. Please, I have had a really bad day and I don't have time to take your crap because there's a lot of shit in my own mind that's going on. But if you would have taken inventory of the situation at the beginning of the day and gone through your shit, segregated them, and decided how to take on the day better, this wouldn't have happened. Something that's really important is that we are aware of the fact that when we have a bad day, we spill on people. We don't realize the impact of our day on others around us, especially the people who are close to us. When we are not aware of how our mind is running, or we are not aware of the thoughts at the top of our mind that are bothering us, that are giving us a hard time, and we don't prioritize them at the beginning of the day, we start ruining the day of the people who are the closest to us. We start acting weird around them because we know we can throw tantrums around them. We can't do it in front of our bosses, right? But we can do it with people who stay at home. They will understand. They know us. They know our temperament and they're going to take it. So we take them for granted and we throw our shit their way. They do not deserve it. So do better. Take inventory of your mind at the beginning of the day so that you don't spill over and you do not get overwhelmed or overwhelm others around you.